Welcome back to London Beautiful Life, and we're at the Toca Social press night in Westfields in White City. Talk about Apprentice. Firstly, how did that all start? Did you get reached out to via Instagram, or did you apply for the show?
No, so I applied for the show. I actually had a couple of beers when I applied for the show. I didn't remember doing it, but we got on somehow. Big interview process. Which I was fully sober for, which you've all read about, and I'm here, I made it, and I had a great time, and I really enjoyed the process.
So when it comes to a show like that, obviously we only see like an hour, but how intense is a show like that?
The show's so intense, right? So each week is different, you don't know what to expect, but I met some amazing people, I've been to some amazing places, and I'm still in. I'm still in. It's a big episode tonight, so tune in and watch.
The boardroom, how scary is that boardroom? Because it looks like it could be a breeze as a viewer, but what is it like in that boardroom?
The boardroom's tough. Like, the boardroom is a scary place to be. Karen Brady, she looks into your soul. And you don't know what Lord Sugar's going to say, and Tim's the nice one. But it's scary. Like, you go in and everyone's legs are shaking, everyone's palms are sweaty. It's a strange place to be.
Actually, talking about Baroness Brady and also Tim, when you're on a challenge, they are overseeing the challenge. Is that quite intimidating? Does that throw you off whilst you're doing the challenge?
It throws you off every time because you don't know what to expect. Are they going to talk to you? Are they going to advise you? But they never advise us. They're there just writing notes. If you mess up, you're done.
It's those sassy face cards that get me every time.
Honestly, like, she's gorgeous, but like, it is a scary place to be. Tim is like the nice one. Karen Brady's the scary one.
Also, when you watch the show back, when it comes to shade from other contestants or candidates, or Karen or Tim or Lord Sugar, does that annoy you watching it back?
Oh look, you've seen me in the show.
You have given some funny facial expression.
I didn't realise how many facial expressions I actually make. Like looking at you now, like that. But no, it's good fun, and it was a learning curve. And I learned a lot from the process. This is an amazing process, but it's we're still in.
There's something that the public would like to know, and I would like to know, is when you wake up at 5 in the morning to get that phone call, and then it's night time and then it's daytime, but it's making it seem like it's in 15 minutes. What is that process like?
So honestly, it literally is about 30 minutes. Karishma was always late, and we were always waiting around for her.
What's it like working or meeting Lord Sugar?
Yeah, I mean, working with Lord Sugar is amazing. I mean, the fact that he said I remind him of his younger self was an amazing comment to ever hear. Hopefully I win, and I could be Little Sugar.
Hopefully. What is the whole process like when it comes to The Apprentice?
For sure. I mean, I'm not going to lie, the apprentice process is very intense. Like, even when applying through the process, I was just like, oh, yeah, I got into selection day, I was thinking, I'm in. But no, there's thousands and thousands of people that still apply. You have to go through, even within the first stage, 4 or 5 different rounds, then you get invited back to second, third, and then you eventually get on it, and you know what? It was one of the best experiences ever for me.
When it comes to waking up, you get that phone call to be like, you've got to be XYZ in XYZ, which normally seems like a very short amount of time. How real is that? Because it looks like it could be pre-recorded.
Yeah, so the 20-minute wake-up call, essentially, the cars are not going to leave in 20 minutes, but they want you to be ready ASAP. So you need to be mic'd up, all of that, not within the 20 minutes, but they want you to be ready 20 minutes so you can get mic'd up and stuff within the 40 minutes, basically. So you have about an hour, but you have to be basically downstairs within 20 minutes.
So when it comes to the challenges as well, do you ever get nervous about the challenges? And especially when you hear them, you're like, are you ever like, oh my word, I can't do this challenge?
With the challenges, yeah, for sure. With the challenge, you definitely feel, scared, nervous, especially because if you can't contribute, you can't do much because you don't know what to do, then you're on the firing line. But I think the mindset to go into it is you just have to do it, give it your all, because otherwise, if you fail, you'll be brought back into the boardroom.
Okay, what is that boardroom like? And what is it like being in front of Tim, Baroness Brady and Lord Sugar?
So in that boardroom, I don't think I've ever felt more scared in my life. Especially when I got brought back into week 2, where it's never happened in Apprentice history, where I was about to go home, relax, and then get a call back from the candidate saying, and then get a call back from Lord Sugar saying he wants to see me in the boardroom. And my heart just dropped, because you have Karen, Tim, Lord Sugar all looking at you saying, what did you do? What did you contribute? Who do you think is the failure of the task? And you literally have to think on the spot, because if not, then you literally could get fired, and you never know what Lord Sugar is thinking. He literally could just fire you on the spot, and then boom, the time's over.
And having Baroness Brady and Tim on the challenges, is it quite intimidating?
Having Baroness Brady and Tim on the challenges, 100% challenging. Like, because they look over you, and then you can see sometimes they're nodding their heads like this, and then you're like, oops, I mean, sorry, I shouldn't swear, but like, what did I do wrong? Like that, and also the disappointment in their faces know that something's wrong. And literally, it's just like having a head teacher looking over you, giving reports, and you're in that time constraint. People don't realize you have about 10, 15 minutes to do X, Y, and Z. You don't have all day to think about stuff.
And then for people that want to go on the show in the future, what advice would you give them?
All advice. Couple of advices will be yourself. Literally, the best way to do it is do not shy away from speaking back. I think just say what's on your mind and contribute to every task. Whether you're good at it or not, if you don't do it, as long as it's like, okay, X, Y, and Z, and you got reasoning behind it, do it. Because people that are lazy, that don't contribute, that are just, hide behind the bush, he will find out.
And also, when it comes to the welfare, what is the welfare like?
To be honest, I'm not gonna lie, the welfare was absolutely amazing. They looked after us so well. So you have a welfare team in the house, people in that big house, there's about 4 or 5 members. They order your food, shopping, whatever you want. They wake you up, they look after you, whatever you need. So the welfare for me was very good, and I respect each and one of them.
What about the welfare after the show?
So the welfare after the show also has not been too bad. We get a weekly phone call from a lady called Sam. She gives us weekly calls, checking in on us, X, Y, and Z, and making sure everything's fine. But to be honest, obviously I think she's just doing her due diligence.
And when it comes to the edit as well, is it ever frustrating to watch the edit and be like, oh, that's not how it is, and then everyone having their 2 pence on social media?
The edits, to be fair, because people don't realise we're filming for 8-9 hours a day over a 3-day.
I think longer than that.
Probably even longer, actually. Over 3 days. So imagine 3 days plus 10 hours worth of filming. That's 30 hours. And in that 30 hours, you only get 1 hour shown for TV. So look how much gets cut. They do so much filming, and I think personality-wise, it's fair enough what people are. But people don't realise what gets cut off. So the reason why people make X, Y, and Z decisions is because of how the show's portrayed. If the other team chose a certain character, we can't choose the same. If the other team chose human, we have to choose creature. You can't both choose the same type of animal, same type of colour, same type, which people don't realise.
Married at First Sight. What was that like? What was the whole process of that? How did you start getting on the show?
Yeah, it was intense. It was pardon, sorry? Oh, sorry.
I couldn't even get my words out.
It's an intense experience. You learn a lot from it. I'm kind of grateful for it. It taught a lot of things I'd probably been hiding from myself. You kind of have to face things you probably don't usually face. But coming out of it now, I feel stronger with it. It was, a long time ago now. It was almost a year and a half, or longer than a year ago now. Yeah, crazy.
When it comes to, obviously, we as the public see 45 minutes of the show. So is it frustrating when people have such an opinion when they only are getting 45 minutes on the show?
I think everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I always live by the mantra, if it was everyone's cup of tea, you'd be a mug. So you've got to please some people, not all the people. And I think they captured how everyone really was. Everyone I've kind of seen, they kind of were like that. Maybe we've learned some things about ourselves we've changed, but everyone kind of got, I think, as true as it could be in that time scale.
Why do you also think that show, particularly, there's a lot of drama outside of the show and between all the, I guess, the couples? Why do you, and with each other, contestants not liking each other, why do you reckon that is?
I think it's because people genuinely fall in love, you know, like imagine like falling in love with someone and then break up with them, but then having to see them again and then like it getting so mixed and convoluted. I was quite lucky, I never fell in love, so I was quite lucky, that's why I'm still friends with everyone. But if you did, I can only imagine it must up that level by so much.
When it comes to welfare as well, what's the welfare like?
The welfare are really good. They're there with you all the time. They still check in now, even though it's all over. Check in monthly, just to make sure you're okay, and always kind of, because it's a show, isn't it? They try to, it's like, they're good because they let you know that you're a real person and they're there to like look after you as well.
So I'm going to ask about The Apprentice. How did that process all start? Were you contacted? Did you apply for the show?
I applied. So actually, that was the third time I'd applied for the show. And like the first 2 years, I'd gone basically to the very last stage and then hadn't gone any further. And I was like, right, this is the last time I'm going to apply. Because I got to like the last like 100 people both years. And that year was like third time. I was like, right, this is the last time I'm going to do it. And I got in, and I basically actually got in like as a substitute or whatever. But then like a month and a half before the show started, they're like, right, you're actually in the final edit. Let's go. And I was like, whoa, it's epic. So yeah, good.
So what I love about the show, firstly, the exterior of London is always great, but it's the fact you get a phone call at 5 in the morning, it's pitch black, and then all of a sudden you got to be somewhere in 15 minutes, and it's day bright, and you're all dressed up to the T. What is that whole process like?
It's absolutely mental. Like honestly, like I've never felt anything like it. And like I get bored so easily. I've got ADHD. I get super bored. I want everything to be happening the whole time. And like with the show, there is never a dull moment. Like it's absolutely mental. And you get woken up so early, and it's like, right, you're going to this place. You've never heard that place. You don't know where that place is. Could be Egypt. Could be Hong Kong. Could be, you know, just down the road. You have no idea. And it's so exciting because I also love like, you know, no one's an expert pretty much in what you're doing every time. You just have to think on your feet and just go get it done. And it is amazing. And you're competing against these people, but you're also friends with these people in the end, and like you get to know them and you're living with them. So it's honestly, it's like the most extraordinary, most like I'm like an adrenaline hunter, I'd say, and it is adrenaline on steroids. So yeah. So
it's the 20th year, but I must admit, this is the first year I've noticed there's been no rewards. So is that because you have been going to Hong Kong and Egypt?
Yeah, everyone's like, they spent all the money, they run out of money. I don't know, to be honest. I think it might be because a couple of the candidates didn't pay their TV license, but it's absolutely ridiculous. I don't know, I've heard that the rewards aren't like amazing for the candidates because you're knackered, you just want to chill, you know, you've had a whole day out filming, all that sort of stuff. And there are no rewards, and afterwards you basically just go back to the house and have to talk on the camera, and that's a bit of a shame. But yeah, they used to do rewards every year, 19 years of rewards, and now they decided to stop. But they also decided to stop the panel show, which I was so excited for, which was, now they've got Unfinished Business, which is still great, but it used to be like a proper TV show where you like in a panel, you had guests, everything like that. So exciting. But yeah, anyway, things change, and I think they're trying to, you know, go with the times. It's quite, you know, it's a show that's been on for so long, and they need to adapt it to what's going on in the other formats.
What's more scarier, being a PM or being in the boardroom for the final 3 if you're going to get fired or not?
Being the last 3 in the boardroom, or oh my god, okay, so being a PM is the most stressful thing I've ever done in my life. I got a lot of hate for me being PM, and a lot of people said I did nothing, but that's just how it happened. And it's so stressful, I can't tell you. Like, it's just constant stress on your back, and you know that in the end, if people have to blame someone, it's going to be the PM. But being in the final 3 is like next level. Like, you are fighting for your life. You are there to, you know, exist. You want to be in the show. You want to win the prize. You want to be Lord Sugar's business partner. And when you're final 3, and it's just other 2 people, especially when you're looking at them like, oh my god, these people are actually amazing, and you know they're good, and they're sometimes your mates, like often your mates. So you don't want to fight them. You don't want to have an argument with them, but you also need to back your corner. It's so difficult. I'd say being in bottom 3 is worse. But PM is long, like 3 days of stress. Being bottom 3 is an hour and a half, 2 hours worth of stress.
And also, is it quite intense having Baroness Brady and Tim on the challenges with you guys? Because I'd feel like I'd be walking around eggshells if that was me.
Yeah, it's very rare to get a compliment from either of them, Baroness Brady or Tim, and like they are iconic on the show, and they are great people, and they're obviously incredible business people, and you want to impress them, but you sort of, when you're working, you look over and you're like, see them in the corner, you're like, oh, they don't look too happy, like it's not ideal. And so that's a bit like, and that kind of knocks your confidence a bit, because you're like, oh my god, looking at their reaction, you're like, oh no, they're not happy. But ultimately they're nowhere near as scary as Lord Sugar, and you kind of feel like they do back you up. If you've done something good, they will back you up in the boardroom, and that is great, because it's like having like maybe like, you know, another teacher there when you're being naughty, but like you're not the one being naughty. They can back you up not being naughty. So it can work in your favour or it can work against you, but they're iconic and they're great. So yeah.
I'd love to know also how you felt when you were on stage talking about the game, and you were saying we got great feedback, and obviously two of the guys were like, well, we were there, we didn't give you great feedback.
Yeah, so that was so stressful, that stage thing, because basically none of the tech worked. They obviously don't show it on stage, on the show. But when we were on stage, basically the tech all failed, and we looked like absolute morons. And they were like, afterwards when we got off, after all the camera stuff, they're like, don't worry, we're not going to show any of that. But we didn't know. So I was like, you know what, I'm PM, I'm fired, this is it, I'm going to get sort of done for this, but it's not my fault. So it was absolute carnage, and like obviously, you know, the pitch was good, but when the tech doesn't work and you're pitching about the tech, it's impossible, it ruins your flow. So it was so stressful, it was super cool. Like the people we were pitching to were like epic. Like Grace Beverly is an absolute, she's like one of my idols, like I'm obsessed with her, she's epic. It was so cool to pitch to her, and I was just like constantly looking at her. But yeah, it was super stressful. We were in the Roundhouse, which is like an iconic place, and pitching this game which I believed in, and Krishma made this insane game with the sub team, and that was amazing, and so it gave us the platform to pitch this game, but felt very deflated when we walked out. Yeah.
And what was it like to win as a peer?
At the time, it was honestly one of the best feelings I've ever had in my life. Like I generally was like so happy. When it's aired, it's been less good. I've had quite a lot of hate about it because of the whole Krishma thing. And like me and Krishma are such good mates, and like it's just like how the public perceives it. But I took her off the pitch team because I was like, I need to pitch, I need to be there, and so it dampened it a bit. But in the moment, it was honestly like I was so happy, because it's when you're under such a high level of stress and then you win. It's not about you, it's just about the team, but it's on your back. It's like, you know, if you're a CEO at a company or if you're the captain of a football team, and like it is on your back even though it's not on your back, but like it was amazing. I felt so amazing.
In hindsight, do you regret the whole changing of the pitch team?
You know what, I think like I never thought it was going to be bad, and I never thought it was a bad decision, and I was always going to be on the pitch team, and Karishma was amazing. You know, she is amazing, she's iconic this season, and like you can see everything she's done. I think she would have been great on the pitch team. And Connor and Kieran, the thing is, I'd pitched with them 3 times before in other episodes. Not Ed, obviously, but I pitched with them before, and it worked so well. And we'd done amazing pitches. You know, I'd won 4 out of the 5 tasks at this point, and I was like, I'm used to the pitching of them, and that was why I changed over. I was always going to swap one of them out. It's just who it was, and she was sub PM, I was PM, so it made sense to swap over sub PM to PM. But looking back at it, I think obviously she would have done an insane job, but we won the task. I don't like, that's why I understand like why people focus on it so much, because we won. Yeah, Krishma smashed it. She was the best on that team by far, on our team. But it's not just about one person a team. It's a whole thing, and yeah, that's where it worked.
Also, in hindsight, when it comes to like the edit side, can it be frustrating to watch back? Is that the same with all the contestants or candidates?
The edit honestly is like, I'm gutted about the edit. I think in almost every single episode, I don't feel the edit is justified what I was doing, and you know, anyone would say that. You know, people would say that about different things, but all the comments I get is, who are you? Are you in the show? And I'm like, yes, because like the thing is, if you do good stuff,
you won as a PM, so you are in the show.
I know I won. Yeah, it doesn't feel like if I did, and like if you're good at things and if you don't cause drama, you're not good TV. And I do think, I'm not saying I was the best there at all, but when on all the tasks, I felt like I contributed a lot, and I think my creativity is like my biggest trait, and I feel like that came through in a lot of the tasks, but not on the cameras, not on the show, so I can't say anything more, but like it's just, you know, it's one of those things you got to take on the chin.
Apprentice, how did that all come about? Did you get contacted or did you apply?
So, little to my knowledge, right, was when I got actually on the show, when I started speaking to the candidates, a lot of them actually been applying like constantly over the past 2-3 years. This is the first time I ever applied for the show. Did not expect to be on the show. I kind of just like applied on a whim, to be honest, and then I had no idea I'd actually get on there. Didn't have no expectation of it, but next thing you know, I'm in the boardroom flying out to Hong Kong. So yeah, it's a bit of a surreal moment, really. I mean, you watch it for years on the TV and stuff like that, and then when you're actually on it and seeing it in real life, it's an eye opener.
I've noticed this series that there's been no rewards after you've won a challenge. Is that because all the budget went on Hong Kong and Egypt?
So it's a very common misconception, to be honest. A lot of people think, oh, they blew the budget this year, they can't afford it. Absolutely not. BBC and minted, mate. But I'm actually quite relieved that there weren't actually any treats this year, to be honest, because from what we've heard from previous candidates who have reached out to us, they were saying that, so just for a bit of background knowledge, the treats are filmed on our days off. It's called a down day, right? You have to do your treats on your down day, which means a whole other day of filming, getting mic'd up again, waking up early. So we love the fact that there were no treats. So, yeah.
Actually, when it comes to the old contestants, you used to watch the show before you went on the show?
I did. So when I was a lot younger than what I am now, a lot of people see it.
So which contestants have reached out to you, and has it been quite cool that they have?
Yeah, so I've had loads of ex-candidates I've had loads of ex-candidates reach out to me, being part of the Apprentice alumni, if you will. They all show so much support. Jana, Denzel, Verdi, Mazaria, Dean, the winner from last year's reached out, Malika, who else? A few others, but I can't remember their names. But yeah.
Oh, so is it quite intimidating having Baroness Brady and Tim on your challenges?
One thing about Baroness Brady and Tim is that they are like silent ninjas, like silent assassins. They're there, but you never actually pay attention there because they're like camouflaging the back wall. So when you do realise they're there, yeah, you are a little bit on edge because you've got to be very careful about what you say. I mean, perfect example in Egypt. When I was doing my corporate negotiation with a client, I specifically made sure I said something to the client to not get their expectations up. And then immediately in the boardroom, Baroness Brady was like, "You did not say that." And I was like, "Yes, I did." But they're there. They're taking down everything you say. So yeah, there's always someone watching you.
What I would like to personally know as well, what is that feeling when you have A, won a challenge, B, lost a challenge, and C, I guess, being fired from the show?
So winning a task is the most amazing feeling because you know that you're stopped filming for the day, they put you in the car, you're on the way home and you're chilling. Being on the losing team is horrible, not only because we've lost, but because you are there the entire evening like for an extra 4 or 5 hours. So yeah, it's horrible and it's grueling. I mean, everyone starts turning on each other, people get thrown under the bus. Part of the show, so can't complain too much. We knew what to expect when we applied. So, but yeah, it's not fun being on the losing task at all. And then being fired, I mean, that's a whole different experience and feeling itself. To be honest, I mean, it's a whirlwind of emotions. Like, you feel so grateful to be part of the show and for the time that you was on there, but at the same time you're like, oh, I didn't win. But it was such an amazing experience. I'm so proud of how far I got on the show, so no regrets.
You did amazing. Also, when you're filming in public, do the public know? Because I, one time years ago, went into a shop in Soho, there was a camera crew, there were 2 people in suits trying to haggle down a price, and I said to the shop assistant, I was being really quiet, but I said, "That's The Apprentice." She's like, "No, it's not." I was like, "That's The Apprentice."
The public definitely know. They know as soon as they see the cameras or the candidates, Karen or Tim there, they're like, "Oh, this is The Apprentice." And then a lot of people will start trying to buy things from us like in public just to appear on the show, and yeah, it's quite funny really. But also another thing in public as well, before we are actually allowed to film the members of the public who come to us, the famous line that we always have to say to them is, right, do you consent to being on our business documentary show? We're not actually explicitly allowed to say The Apprentice.
And then also, have you got a day that really stood out to you, or a moment that maybe wasn't shown on the show that really stood out to you, which you were really personally proud of, or you just thought was really funny and a memory that is a core memory?
So one of my favourite memories from the show was in Egypt. So it was day 3 of us being in Egypt. We'd done all the filming and we had a day gap between flying home. So they were actually quite kind to us. They were like, "Listen, you got your down day, you got your day off in Egypt." We all went to the pool, all of the candidates, and it was just like 15 of us or whatever it was, literally just like hanging out as friends on holiday. Forgot about the entire show as a whole, and it was just, yeah, it was amazing just to experience Aegis and hang out with a great bunch of people.